Now, campaigners are demanding an overhaul of mental health services after it was revealed that local government budgets have been slashed.
Yeah, new figures obtained from a Freedom of Information request show that local authorities spend less than 1% of their public health budget on mental health.
With some regions planning to not spend any money on preventing mental ill health in the coming year.
And yet 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem every year, according to the charity Mind.
And Peter Fleming is from the Local Government Association. Very good morning to you. So you're all kind of under fire here for not spending enough money on mental health. We just need to establish we're not talking about NHS services for people suffering from mental health. That's a separate issue, and people have their own criticisms, of course, of that. This is about public health campaigns to keep our minds healthy and prevent us going into hospital. Now, Mind's figures show that councils simply aren't doing enough.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite a complex picture. There's about a budget of about £3.5 billion, the public health budget in this country, of which £46 million is spent on, discreetly spent on mental health services. But I think you have to see that the move from public health not being done by councils to being done by councils about 3 years ago has seen a big change. And the reason is that we've moved from treating just the condition to treating the conditions that can cause the condition. So although this talks about mental health services, councils also do things like housing and other issues that have a massive impact on people's mental health. So it's true to say that that is the figure that's spent, but it's not true to say that that's the only money being spent on mental health services. One
of the shocking figures that I've seen is there's a report by Mental Health Task Force that says so far this year, mental health problems have cost our economy an estimated £105 billion. The impact that mental health and mental health issues has on our community is just enormous. And when you compare that to the 46 million that you have to spend, it feels like you should be lobbying for more money. There should be more money available, and why is there not more?
Well, so, as I say, we had public health moved to us about 3 years ago at a time when all budgets are reducing. We've lost about 10% of the public health budget in those 3 years. So all of our work, whether that be around sexual health, around alcohol, about obesity, about all of those other sort of competing demands that we have for money has been reduced. But as I say, there are other ways that local councils are helping around mental health. And, you know, the biggest determinant of your health going forward is actually your housing, whether that be your physical or your mental health.
So do you think it's too early to judge whether it's been a good move?
I think you know, we could always do with more money, and you know, councils are struggling.
Well, 13 local authorities spent nothing at all on trying to prevent mental ill health.
Yeah, no discrete money was spent on mental health, and I think, you know, that is an issue where, you know, there are so many competing demands now on councils' money.
Have you got ideas for, you know, because you're saying, of course, I mean, if you're in poor housing, we can see the clear link between that and anxiety and depression, for instance. So it's important to put money into housing so that people don't suffer mental illness as a result. But are there other things that you wish you could invest money in?
I think, you know, whether we're here talking about potholes, whether we're here talking about mental health, whether we're here talking about, you know, there is a whole gamut of public services that are provided by local councils that are under pressure now through reducing budgets. And councils have to look at how that money is spent.
Do you think that campaigns to prevent mental ill health go to the bottom of the list because it's almost too vague to know how specifically to target people's mental health before it becomes a problem?
I'm not necessarily sure that is the case, and I think.
So why aren't they spending money on specific programmes to deal with it?
Well, so some councils are. I mean, you've obviously highlighted some councils that don't show discreetly in their budgets money being spent on mental health. That is not to say that those councils aren't having an impact on improving mental health within their areas, because it is such a narrow freedom of information request to look at just that very, very discreet line.
All right, Peter Fleming from the Local Government Association. Thanks very much indeed.